Hello, everybody, and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. Hello if you're watching on Twitch, and if you're on YouTube, welcome as well. You should try to catch us live because the chat is hyped all the time, and they're awesome. So, we're going to go around, we're going to say who we are, who we'll be playing, and then we'll get on with sponsors and recap stuff. So, we're going to start with the lovely Renee.
Hi, I'm Renee, and I will be playing Lois Greenaway. She is a scientist focusing on climate, and she has been really loving keeping track of all of the weather down in Antarctica. She has not so much been loving all of the weird stuff they're having to deal with. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wonderful scientific opportunity for you to be here. So, it's a little sanity. It's fine. Speaking of sanity, we've got Crumpler64.
What's that supposed to mean? Anyway. Hello, everyone. I am Crumpler64. I am playing in Baxter Wiggins, artist hired to be the cartographer for this expedition. I don't know, I said this many times, and I don't want to sound about a broken record, but Baxter is feeling a bit enough more he can eat chew, because this was supposed to be a simple, just artist job, and now it seems the amount of mystery and just mayhem is slowly ragging it into his brain.
Yeah, that's totally normal, right?
Yeah, totally what an art goes through. Just pure art and pain.
Pure art and pain. I mean, isn't that the life of an artist anyways? So... Let's go down to Jimergen.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be back here on another Tentacle Tuesday Cthulhu-thon. I am role-playing as Hunter Merrill, the expedition's survivalist outdoorsman. And we have Germans here, so we might start having some flashbacks, and we'll see how much the survivalism kicks in. Lindy says we're all fine, but, she's been saying that every episode, so.
You guys are fine. You guys don't know the definition of not fine yet. You're getting close, but not yet. So, speaking of fine, we've got Lil Cup of Joe.
Hi, I'm Jess. I will be playing Lena Stoddard, the resident archaeologist who actually got to do some archaeology last session, which was pretty neat. She might be the sanest person on the crew right now, I think, still. We'll see how she holds up over time.
Yeah, I'm sure everything will be great. She does have the most sanity somehow, but,
she just keeps it all together.
Yes,
fine.
She keeps it together.
She's fine.
She's fine. Pro restarter, right there. Bad at pointing. There we go.
Hey. Yeah, super glad to be back in Hayden Stewart's shoes. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the show. Yeah.
Excellent. And last but most certainly not least, Hollowtail.
Hello, happy to be back. Looking forward to it this week. I'm playing Sebastian Wintercroft, the psychiatrist, and slowly losing my sanity as well, but on a solid 46, so got a bit yet.
Bless you. Solid 46. Now I will say I've had a character start out with 46 sanity, and it was fine, but we're going to go with
Lindy.
She survived, barely. But, that's better than not surviving at all. We're going to go through and do a recap. Before we do a recap of what happened last week, first, I'm going to remind you guys of how you can interact with today's show. There are multiple ways, one of which being retweets. If we hit 20 retweets today, we will give out a set of tabletop loot dice, which are super awesome. I love all my tabletop loot dice. Also, we are sponsored by Fantasy Grounds. All of the rolls that you see today will be right here in this little Fantasy Grounds box. Also, Wayland Games. WaylandGames.co.uk. You can find a whole bunch of minis there for all of your tabletop role-playing needs. They've got a huge... They also have, terrain and stuff. It's pretty cool. You should check them out. And lastly, donations. We already had one come in for a magic item that will be distributed this session. Check down below. You can give Nat 1s, Nat 20s, Wild Magic Surges, which are always super interesting. Magic items, monsters, and more. It's just down there. Check it out. But let's get back to what happened last week on Beyond the Mountains of Madness. First off, they finished excavating the rest of the tents that were in the Percival Lake encampment. One was missing, one was, pretty good condition, and the other one was the horrific dissection tent of a human probably being dissected alive. Totally normal stuff. Sebastian did some biopsy stuff on the creatures that were found, learned some stuff about that. They read through Percival Lake's journal. Ice Trail broke through the cave. Before that, Hayden started hallucinating, maybe? He made a friend. A nice little oil slick, adorable little friend, whose name is Gloop. Also, they, again, Lena got to do some archaeology. She found some really intriguing artifacts. Some interesting dots on a bunch of different unique pieces that have been found on the pieces, both in and outside of the cave, and you guys are trying to figure out what's all that about. And right as we ended, as you guys were in deep discussion on what should be done and what you guys should do next, you guys heard airplanes roaring overhead. What could that be? You guys left your tents. You looked outside and it was the Germans. The Germans are here. So we're gonna resume pretty much right there with you all very bleary-eyed, sleepy, waking up, and the Germans are landing. You can tell because they got black crosses on their planes.
I feel like maybe it's because I just woke up, but is this a failure on our part? Did we do something wrong?
I
don't think that's the case.
Do any of us speak German?
No.
9.
Wait, you do?
No. I know.
I suspect that's the limit of his abilities.
I know how to say pen in German.
Maybe if we combine our knowledge.
No pen.
We know plane. Me and Hayden figured that one out. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have maybe a sentence?
Maybe is a strong word.
Yes, I believe.
I don't think we're going to be communicating with them with words, but I don't know that they're going to want to communicate with us with words, to be quite honest.
What do you think, Hunter?
Well,
You're like the
Hunter,
safety man, and
Hunter steps out of the igloo and looking at this aircraft rather curiously, and steps back inside and put my snowsuit on, coat, cap, calmly strap on my pistol, sling my rifle across my back, and walk over towards. Starkweather's not back yet, so I'll go to Moore's.
He's probably due back today or tomorrow.
So I head over to Moore's igloo, and I'm just kind of glancing around at the other igloos as I go by, just to see if everybody else is stirring up.
All right. So yeah, the whole camp is kind of stirring. It was hard to not hear the planes as they roamed overhead. That's awful plane noise. Forget I ever did that. But yeah, everyone's the whole camp is stirring.
So what's has Moore noticed? Do I need to
Oh, he's noticed. He's like kind of hopping around, like trying to like get the last of his overboots on, and he's getting ready to head out. And they're just they like pass by and then circle, look for a place to land. So they're just now landing. It's gotta land into the wind. It's better.
Were you expecting this, sir?
No, I was not. Though they are the Bosman Falcon expedition is present in Antarctica. I wasn't expecting it, but I won't say it surprises me completely. After all that we've seen, I'm unsurprised.
So this is them, you know?
Well, who else would it be? There's 3 expeditions currently here, and 2 of them are already present. Ourselves and Miss Lexington. These are the only other human beings in Antarctica. Though I thought their expedition was much bigger, perhaps this is just a small... I don't know. small scientific unit. We did radio broadcast that we broke into the tunnel last night, so maybe they're here to check out the wonders that we've discovered.
Shall we go greet them?
Yes, I believe we should. He's just finishes, like, tying, like, just tucking his scarf all in and getting ready to head out.
With Hayden kind of being in the room in the igloo of everyone, I think as Hunter was kind of saying this and kind of gone off, I think Hayden was saying, "Oh well, they seem to be here. Who's good with a shot? I have a rifle back in my igloo."
I have a rifle too, but yes.
I think we need to come at this as armed. I mean, secret German calls and there was secret plane and all of this. This can't be a coincidence. We've had too many coincidences.
There's 3 planes.
No 3 planes?
True enough, but there could also be the flip side of that, which could be that we turn up armed and we show ourselves as hostile.
Well, I'm not saying turn up armed. I'm just saying we should gather our weapons where we can, and if anything happens, at least we're already armed.
Very well.
So we should be discreet about this. We agree on that point, yes?
Yes, the plane is still landing. It's going to take them a moment to shut down the systems and open up the hatch. So if we hurry, we should be able to arm ourselves quite quickly. And being out here in the ice, carrying around weapons, with animals around, shouldn't be too out of place.
No, I imagine not. Well, I'll go and collect mine and, of course, my black bag of my other supplies.
Yes, I have mine right here, and Hayden will pick up his.
All right.
Actually, no, I don't have a rifle. I have like 2 pistols, actually. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
What do I have?
All good. What weapons do I got? All right. So, you guys approach the planes?
Yeah, as Hunter and the professor approaching the plane there, if I see one of them, I'll just give them a stay put sign and eyes on the biological tent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start packing my pipe as I'm walking out there.
Okay. Sure thing. So you guys walk out. The propellers are slowing down. They are in the shutdown cycle. The door will open momentarily. You can kind of hear some barking from inside one of the planes. This sounds a lot like your sled dogs kind of thing. The excitement of they always bark on landing and take off because hi Tesla, because of all the Antarctic cats. They get real feisty. Just kidding. There's no cats in Antarctica. But the door opens and you see a few nicely dressed. They have like the same snow gear you do, but it looks a little sharper. Looks a little bit more, classy, almost uniform-like, and they descend. One of them has a large beard, big white beard. He's a little bit more round. Lena and Lois would actually recognize him as Dr. Professor Ur, as he is quite famous in certain scientific circles. So he is many broad topics of science, but he specializes in archaeology, anthropology, and biology. So
Lois judges Lena. Do you see?
Yes. And the first gentleman boards down with his darker beard. He goes, "Guten Tag. My name is Johann Meyer. It is a pleasure to meet you."
Who's he saying this to?
Just the group.
Okay, we're all that. Sorry, I thought
There's like a small crowd gathered at the little landing port.
Hello. So what do we owe this very unexpected visit from free planes.
But you did not know. Well, Fraulein Acacia Lexington invited us here.
Oh, did she?
Look at Professor Moore. What's his reaction when he says that? When he hears that?
He's keeping a pretty straight face, but you see a little really? She called in the Germans.
Okay. Make a note of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just came? You got here quite quickly. When was
She
this
invited
invitation
us.
given?
Well, there was talks about joining forces before she even left on her expedition, but they could not come to an arrangement that was preferable to Miss Acacia's liking. So, she called us up last night. We were by the pole, so it was not terribly far, and we decided to come and try to renegotiate, as she is quite interested in assisting us, it would seem.
Assisting you with what, if I ask?
Well, we see these are planes that we are equipped with for this expedition. They will not survive the altitude necessary to cross those mountains there, which we are very interested in seeing the other side of. Her plane is, however, equipped to do so. So she is offered a deal of sorts to escort us across the mountains, see what is on the plateau beyond, and we will provide her with certain supplies which she apparently lost on her journey here. Quite tragic.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. Lexington has been speaking quite openly about what she's been doing and being the first woman over the mountain in the poles. Of all the many interviews that she's had, she never once described a passenger and a union of countries in this scientific expedition.
Well, I cannot speak as to her motivations. I can only speak to as what I have been told. I've been sent here by my superiors at the our main base, which is Vedel, the Vedel coast, which is a very large stretch of the Antarctic coast that they landed on originally. So I've been told to come here and negotiate.
Is Lexington out here?
You see that her camp is steering. She's not a morning person, and so it's probably just taken her a little longer to get up and get out here. Someone probably had to go wake her up and get her out. But there is movement in that side of the camp.
Well, I don't know. I hate to inform you on this, but due to recent trouble that Lexington has with various equipment and things going wrong, we've chosen to join forces, camps and everything like that. So perhaps we can always sit down and we can discuss what you and Lexington and our group wish to achieve here.
Of course, science is the main goal of these expeditions, of course, and exploration and discovery. I'm more than amenable to discussing any sort of arrangements that would be beneficial to both sides.
Yes, of course. How many are you again?
Well, we have, this plane is mostly full of supplies and equipment. He points to the farthest plane. This one here is myself and the scientific team that would be hopefully doing good work here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was about 9 of us total, and of course the sled dogs that we brought with us as well.
Oh, you've brought a science team with you. How wonderful. Lois and myself are part of the science team on this expedition.
It's a pleasure
Lena
to meet
Stoddard.
you,
I'm an archaeologist with Miskatonic University.
See the kind of
This
Santa
is
Claus looking
Lois.
guy with the big white beard and the kind of round. He kind of comes up and he goes, "Oh, it is a pleasure to meet women in science." Oh, and he comes over and he shakes her hands. He's very, very enthusiastic. I am Dr. Professor Franz Uhr. It is a pleasure to meet young women who are excited about science these days.
Yes, we've heard so much about you, Professor. It's very wonderful to meet you in person. And this is Lois Greenaway. She's our climatologist and a
pleasure
close
to
friend
meet
of
you.
mine.
Pleasure. And he goes and he shakes your hand, gives you a pat on the shoulder. He's all grins and smiles. He goes, "Hi, it's just, it's so refreshing to see young women these days getting excited about science. When I was your age, I just would start speaking science and climate and things to them, and they would zone straight out. It's so refreshing to see young minds at first."
But that's exactly the look on everyone's faces when I talk about climate.
Yes, it's interesting being on the other side of that equation, and we hope to lead the charge someday, and perhaps there will be more women following in our footsteps.
That would be a wonderful dream. Jeff, I believe you guys have been here a bit longer than I've been here in Antarctica. I've got to get here a bit late, but I'm sure you have more than enough wonderful findings that we could examine perhaps together.
Yes, of course. We can, we'll there's still cataloging things. There's quite a lot of work yet to be done. We had some time breaking through the ice.
I see.
A little more than
Vince here
anticipated.
kind of licks a finger, or he goes to lick a finger, then remembers he has a glove, and he's like, it is always blowing in the same direction, it would seem. It's very intriguing. Usually there's a shift of sorts. He kind of pulls out like a little notebook, and he already starts writing a couple things down, and he appears very happy, because I assume they pulled me out of mere retirement for this Antarctic expedition, because I'm told I look a bit like Santa Claus and all the snow.
Of course, they're going to send Santa Claus to the poles. What a delightful joke.
He just chuckles to himself, and Johann he looks over at you guys and kind of closes his eyes a little bit at the enthusiasm of Professor Dr. Ur. He goes, fair.
It's like us scientists.
More like his over-enthusiasm, it would seem. He's just like, he's keeping it very much together. And at this point, Acacia Lexington does arrive. It appears to be that she's got her big fur coats on, and she's like, "Oh, gentlemen, it is a pleasure to see you here. I have been eagerly waiting your arrival. I didn't realize it would be so early." And you see, Johann kind of is like, "Early? Are you operating on the local time? We are still operating on Deutschland time, so it's quite late for us, actually." Whew. See, like a guy behind him is kind of stifling a yawn. Well,
Yes.
it would be lovely to have a meeting with you all, and of course, set up camps. And Lexington's like, "Of course. Oh, good to see you, Professor
yes.
Moore, Mr. Stewart."
It's good to see you as well. Your friend here, I was just telling us how you were planning to join forces to explore the cave, was it?
Oh, well, they're more interested in the Miskatonic Mountains over yonder.
Oh, right, that was it. Sorry. The cave you did today. It's been a very stressful day.
Oh, it has been all cold, and I'm looking forward to just getting all this exploration done, and then we can head back to New York City. Now, Professor Moore, if you would like to join in the discussions that Mr. Dr. Mayer and I, Mr. Johann Mayer, are going to be having, you're more than welcome to join. He's like, "Well, yes, I do believe I would like to be involved in this discussion." Of course. Perhaps we should talk in my tent?
I think the mess tent will probably be larger, and coffee and breakfast should be about ready. Let's go ahead and get out of the cold.
Course. And she will start heading that way.
I'll walk with Professor Moore.
Mm-hmm. He's walking back. He's kind of stroking his chin. He's like all bundled up. He's got like the scarves from here to here, but he's kind of stroking it through the scarf a little bit. This was an interesting turn of events, it would seem. But they seem to be well equipped. And you see they're kind of opening up the dog sled and taking the dogs out. The dogs are all super excited and happy to be out of the plane, and they're taking out very nice looking equipment. Like, they're setting up a radio tower. Their radio antenna is twice the height of yours. You have a 20-foot pole. Theirs is 40 foot, and it appears to be of really good quality. No cost was cut here on their expenses, it would seem, for this expedition.
So I asked Professor Moore if, sir, do you, should our radio Starkweather? Let him know the development.
I think we should have a meeting with these two first and have all the facts. You know how Starkweather gets. He's just going to blow up a bit if we don't have all the information and demand things. And if we can just present it all to him at once, it'll reduce drama, I believe.
That's affirmative. How about
all right.
Any direction for the team?
Well, I believe we do need to keep excavating things at the site, but aside from that, well, I mean, anyone who's wants to join in the meeting is welcome, I suppose. And you guys enter the mess tent. What was that look?
We want to join that. We want to join that meeting.
Yeah.
That was my look face. Like,
All right, so the Germans all kind of bundle in, with the exception of their dog trainer, who is speaking enthusiastically with Olaf, it would seem. It seems like they're both like, oh, my dogs can do these tricks. Well, my dogs can do these tricks. And the dogs are just sniffing each other and getting they get along. They're well trained, but they
start comparing knives.
They definitely start comparing knives. Olaf's knife is larger. A little more impressive. Girthier handle. But anyways, you guys head into the mess tent. And everybody sits down and coffee is handed out. Breakfast is served. It is, of course, delicious, warmed up pemmican and sardines. Yay! Breakfast of champions out here in Antarctica. So,
Yep.
Yes. And Doris, of course. Doris is actually not in the mess tent right now.
is Glucaban?
Yeah, when Hunter
is there.
enters, cast a wary eye over at Hayden and then look around at the tables again.
You don't see anything right now, Hunter.
Do you see anything, Hayden?
What? Oh, no, just my friends.
Good.
It's like... Hi! But yeah, so everyone sits down, and coffee is served. The Germans are only having coffee. It appears they've already maybe eaten on the plane right here. They all accept cups of hot coffee. People pull down their face coverings, and Acacia Lexington is like, well, I believe you gentlemen, wish to see the other side of the Miskatonic Mountains, and I have a plane that is more than capable of providing that. You see, Starkweather and Moore have been quite accommodating, but our original deal was to get everybody and their supplies and equipment out here, which I have done in exchange for fuel and food, and so that, as far as I'm concerned, that part of that deal is through, except for the sharing of scientific discoveries. Well, then I heard you lovely gentlemen were in need of a plane. And, well, I've got a plane, and I'm sure you noticed your radio equipment is rather nice. I'm sure we could come to some kind of arrangement. And price, of course. He's like, of course. My superiors are more than willing to exchange radio equipment you need, as we brought plenty extra. And according for passage across the Miskatonic Mountains.
And what university you work for? Your superiors, you said?
Oh yeah, my superiors, they are obviously the German science team. We are the best scientists in Germany, assembled by the government to explore Antarctica. Map it out.
Oh, so it's a governmental mission, not a university one, I see.
No, we are not funded by university. We are government funded, which is why we spared no expense on our equipment.
That's good. That's good. Well, if I'd known that there was a going for passengers to go over the mountains, I would have taken it over myself. I'm going over there as well.
Ah, good, excellent. Perhaps we can make it a big party, if you will.
Indeed.
But he kind of drinks the coffee. Those are, sure, there are final details we need to work with, including price negotiations, of course, as Miss Lexington is quite insistent upon getting her worth out of this. And she's like, yes, I am willing to pay, to have y'all pay quite a pretty penny to go across these mountains, as fuel these days are not cheap. And you know it's true, the fuel is very expensive for planes at this time. Yeah, we have an extensive fuel reserve, so of course we are more than willing to donate fuel. Our planes are just not equipped for the altitude that is, these mountains are quite large and impressive, I'm not going to lie. Larger than any I've ever seen. So,
Indeed.
I believe it would be beneficial to make these arrangements. Of course, my superiors have wished to speak with Miss Lexington over the radio again to finalize any agreements. But I believe you mentioned that Dr. Professor Uhr has mentioned that you have a tunnel you have been excavating, Nine?
Yes, that's correct. We've only just recently broke ground inside of it and started cataloging and investigating things today. As a matter of fact,
She kind of checks like her watch or whatever timekeeping they have.
Yeah.
to be quite honest, I should probably get myself over there very soon. But I didn't want to miss this meeting of the minds.
And you are in charge of the archaeology unearthing of this the site?
Yes. Yes, I'm the archaeologist on site for this, for the Starkweather expedition.
Seeing as how our presence was not announced up front and formally, he kind of looks at Acacia like, that everybody was going to know that we were coming. I would be more than willing to, we have a geologist, an engineer, a meteorologist, an extra pilot, and some other scientists with us that I would be more than happy to put at your disposal to put to work wherever you see fit in excavating of things here.
Yes, of course, I'd be delighted to meet your science team, as well as my associate Lois here, Dr. Greenaway.
Of course. And we also have some interesting excavation tools you might find helpful. We have brought. And you see, he looks like an engineer type. He kind of has a big bag next to him. He pulls out. It looks like a knife, but it's got a very large battery pack on the end of it. These are heated ice knives. They will cut through the ice faster than you can chip away with less damage.
Well, that has certainly spared no expense. I'm quite impressed.
Of course not. Science is a very worthy endeavor. We do not believe in cutting corners on it. Perhaps we could just demonstrate the proper usage of these, as they are a little fickle at times.
By all means.
Of course. But it will have to be in the morning, as we are very, again, I believe we are on opposite schedules, if you will. So we would be more than happy to set up tents, and then in a few hours of rest, we can show you how the ice knives work.
Yes, by all means. That'll give me plenty of time to reassess what's going on at the dig site.
Of course. It was a pleasure meeting you all, and we will see you in a few hours. And they kind of gives a little, half bow, and they all kind of start setting up tents and taking their leave. Near the Lexington side of tent.
Hunter will stand around, keep an eye on them in case they need, under the pretense in case they need some help or anything like that. Are any of them armed?
They don't appear to be.
Yeah, just from what I can visually inspect.
Just from what you can tell, they don't appear to be armed.
Okay.
A lot of them have notebooks and pencils and other type of scientific equipment, but none of them appear to be armed.
Right. So, did they pick a good location?
They did. They picked a location kind of south of Miss Lexington's camp, so that way their tents would act as a windbreaker for their tents, kind of thing.
Okay. And how proficient and expertly do they seem to be setting up their camp? Do they know what they're doing?
Expertly. They definitely know what they're doing.
But they're still using tents.
They still are using tents, yes.
All right.
So.
I'll go back to Mr. Moore, or Professor Moore. So what'd you make of that, sir?
Well, they seem... I'm not German anymore. Hold on. Well, they seem quite amenable. Can't say we can't use the extra help with unearthing, especially some of the rest of the sites here that we're supposed to unearth, like those 2 other airplane hangars that probably don't have anything but spare parts in them. If we wanted to just put them to busy work, that wouldn't be something I'm opposed to.
All right, just if I may remind you of just a couple of items, sir.
Of course, of course.
The saboteur from the Lexington expedition is still at large. And once we found whatever the hell that thing is, this no longer became just a standard Antarctic expedition.
Well, they're here now. They're going to see what's happened here. There's not really any stopping that, so I say might as well stay on their good side. Maybe they couldn't assist in the excavation, or if we tantalize enough scientific finds in front of them, they'll let us have our own little area of peace. They don't seem aggressive about any of this research, almost a bit nonchalant. Probably because they have enough men that they have a forward camp, a South Pole camp, and then enough to set up a small one here. But this isn't their largest concern. They just want to get over those mountains.
Understood. I want to get over those mountains too, or at least get closer to them.
Yes, well, very soon. Very soon, I think. We have to finish excavating. We have a few things to excavate left here, aside from more searching in the cave. We've got to open the memorial and the graves, have them all ready to transit. And then also we've got to all the old dog pens, just to finish unearthing the site, make sure we're not missing anything, and of course the 2 aircraft hangars. So there's a bunch of Percival Lake camp excavating still to do, along with anything else we find in the cave.
Roger that. I will go make sure we get on that immediately, sir.
All right. I'm going to get starting to work on the cave. He kind of heads off.
I'll go find Lena.
Mm-hmm.
Report to her that, or see what she has next in line.
Yeah, I imagine Lena's probably made her way off to start seeing what if there's been a crew working through the night at all, what they have found, and just start to catalog things that are coming out of there and keep track of the expedition's findings in that cave.
Okay.
And she wants to keep a very, very tight catalog on what is coming out of there to make sure nothing walks off.
Sure thing. That is easy enough for you to do. All right. Also, they'll probably be up and at them in about 6 to 8 hours to assist you. Mm-hmm. What do you want to put them on for excavating? Because they seem to be... the cave doesn't really have any ice inside of it. It's more like you just gotta be really delicate and stuff. The places that are still iced over are the airplane hangars, the dog pens, and the grave.
Okay. I think since they've got those fancy schmancy ice knives, she might get their help with starting to excavate some of those, but probably not the graves.
Okay, not the graves.
Maybe the
Gotcha.
tents and the dog areas and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, what is everybody else doing at this time?
Hayden would want to get some of them to help excavate some of the more the hangars.
Okay, so
Yeah.
cool.
I'm trying to take a look at the ice knives as well.
Yeah, they will show you those. What about Sebastian? What is Sebastian going to be doing?
I think he will go and reattend to the tents with the specimens in, ensure that everything has been correctly dealt with there, and see if there's anything else for him to do in regards to that. Aside from that, I imagine he'll be sort of watching what's going on around camp, sort of still a bit suspicious of Lexington and the Germans and entirely what they're up to.
All right. What about Baxter?
See, I imagine unless Baxter has any more maps to really get done or anything, he'll just go where he's needed, really.
Okay. It's probably helping out with Hayden and stuff. Hayden or Lena.
Yeah.
I would have asked Baxter also if he would add the new camp.
Yeah.
Plot out the new camps on the maps. Make sure that they're on a good, stable location.
Got it.
Excellent. And Lois.
I'm helping out Lena as much as possible, especially if we have to be a little bit more attentive. I will go ahead and do my check of the weather. Wind is still blowing the same direction, but go ahead and record because I do that every morning and evening, and I don't want the sudden arrival of the Germans to just derail my research. So I do that and then go to help out with the archaeology side of things.
Alrighty. So, that pretty much gets it done in the time. Hayden, your 2 guys that you sent to unearthing Lake's old fuel cache successfully got through. There are 12 drums of plain fuel that are still good, along with 10 gallons of kerosene for other types of fuel sources. So they're like, "Hey, boss, we finished the job. It only took us 4 days, but we did it."
Good job. You can help us out with these other hangars now.
Great. All right. Yep. Let's. We're gonna get a cup of coffee first, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Everybody else has been a bunch of people. It's just been those 2 guys with shovels and little ice picks, and they've just been working for days on this same area.
Those poor guys.
They're so glad to be done.
Nice.
Make sure that
sleep for 4 days.
I know.
Make sure that information gets passed to Professor Moore, that we've got that extra fuel, so he can add it into his calculations.
Okay, so the Germans all kind of wake up. Dr. Professor Orr goes over to assist Lena and Lois, and whatever he can. He is very enthusiastic and happy. He's not as good at bending down to get specimens up, but he's really good at cataloging them. His notes are very quick and fast, so he's very helpful in the cataloging of things and dating things. Hayden, you have a bunch of you basically get the rest of the German workhorse team to help you excavate this hangar. And the geologist helps you, Lena. He's very excited about the rocks, the layers of strata in here. He's just nerding out. He's just wunderbar. I'm just taking little samples.
She's probably keeping a lot of the German science team close to the work that she herself is doing, and to leverage their expertise, but also maybe to keep an eye on them.
Oh no, yeah. Lois will ask pointed questions of the meteorologists to see how much they know, kind of thing. Very casual. It's very much it's smiling the whole time and kind of doing the giggle press thing that she used to do when they talked to the press a lot. So, but she's trying to see how much they know.
Okay,
it's not. She's not threatening. She's just curious. It's more okay.
Meteorologists explaining them. a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Media
She's
slang.
weather-splaining them.
Weather-splaining? She's weather-splaining them a little bit. Just give me a meteorologist roll, just to see, like, how you exercise your chops on this guy.
Oops, if I can spell. Yes.
Yeah, his name is Mr. Kleiser, Herr Kleiser. He's the meteorologist. 45. Is that a success?
It is, yes.
All right. He is extremely knowledgeable about the weather.
Okay.
He appears to be
then I'm
climate specialist, but he is very intrigued by the Antarctic weather, as it is a bit of a phenomenon in this area.
Okay. I'm gaining some appreciation for him through this conversation.
It's like, hold my weather vane.
He's cool. And the geologist, he's like going out and is super like geologist nerd speak. Like he doesn't know all the English terms for some of the words, like that he's using. So he's just like, and then so he'll like be like, but the layer between this and this, and then he's just so excited.
Yeah.
Rambling.
Lena will probably helpfully provide like the missing English words if she can like suss out what he's.
Yeah,
he
appears quite happy. Yes, his English isn't the best, but he's taking excellent notes. A lot of it's numbers, anyways. So,
if we do get the hangars excavated,
yes.
I'm looking for more strange stuff. Like I found.
Okay, so you get to use the ice knives first, Hayden, and Baxter.
Yeah.
Baxter's helping out. Yeah, so whoever's helping out Hayden, these ice knives, they're simple gadgets, but they're very convenient. It's like a 10-inch loop of heavy copper tubing, and it gets heated almost red hot by electricity. You can just kind of just carve out swaths of the ice. There is like a cable. Like 2 are battery held and they're more straight, which are more for detail work, but the big tube ones that are just great for cutting big chunks, they have like cables and they're connected to a small generator. But they're very flexible because they're just like a tube, so you can get into little ideas.
Can I inspect these enough where I can make my own?
Pardon?
Can I inspect these enough where I could make my own?
Give me a mechanical repair roll to see if you can learn all the little things.
15. That's a. Hold on, let me look at my mechanical repair. That's a hard success. I got a 15.
Hard success. Yeah, you think now that you've kind of seen it, that you can, and you're using it, you're seeing like what kind of materials they're made out of. You think you could replicate this?
Oh yes, this is quite simple but effective. Why have I never thought of this?
Yeah, it's value new technology, specifically for not great for regular Arctic expeditions, but good for excavating things, which is why we brought some with us. So we thought they might come in handy. Handy is the right word, right? I'm not saying something incorrect or impolite. No.
You're fine. Don't worry.
Good.
And they're going to be a bit tricky with the Americans around.
Oh, yeah, they take some of them take quite offense if you get some words wrong. So I wanted to make sure it's not bad slang or anything. I'm trying to pick it up. So you guys are just carving with these ice knives, and before you know it, you are able to get a kind of like a doorway into hangar number 2. So you guys, like, hangar 1 was pretty much pushed over. That's where you found the upside down plane. Hangar 2, as soon as you like expose the interior to the air, though, you feel like, because it was completely iced in, you feel like the air kind of exchange start to happen. There's fresh air's blowing in, the old air's blowing out, and there's a distinct kind of metallic odor that wafts out from this doorway you've created in the ice.
Well, splendid devices. Like Hayden has like just forgotten all the troubles now because he's like mechanical things and all of that.
Mechanical things.
And it's like, wow, this is amazing. Kind of like turns on like a flashlight and kind of walks in.
So you walk in, and it's kind of like you walk in and then you turn around a slight corner, then you enter the rest of it, and now you see why there's like a hint of metallic odor, as the frozen floor of this hangar is covered with huge areas of pink ice, dotted here and there with unidentifiable darker substances. And arrayed along the southern wall, neatly separated in displays, are the remnants of a very messy dissection. You see that on the floor, there is about dog-sized cleared spots, surrounded by displays of organs set into circles. You can see that there's slightly wider ice, a circle making a bunch of different circles in this area, which you get a little closer and you realize that they're salt circles kind of made around, which would probably explain why the mess tent didn't have any salt in it when you guys excavated that. You see that there are internal organs draped in intricate patterns and rows around where the body of a dog would have been inside of here. There appears to be 3. And one of them even has what looks like the top part of a skull. You think it's a dog, completely removed, and the brain laid out next to it, sliced into paper-thin sections, still frozen into the ice. And with this, I'm going to need you to make me a sanity check, anybody who's there.
So I got this knife, right? Jesus.
Are we all over there right now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd have probably gone over.
Or
I know at least Baxter, Sebastian, and Hayden were probably over there.
Yeah.
Don't know about Hunter. I think Lena and Lois are inside the caves.
Yeah, I failed.
We're doing cave stuff.
Yeah, I failed.
Super failed.
You can be there if you'd like.
Oh, gentlemen. I'm good.
Good.
Right.
Yeah, we're in the caves.
Apologizing.
I'm just gonna go touch
Working
my,
in the caves with science.
I'm gonna go
We're
touch my
doing the
friend.
job we came here to do.
Artist
that a
noises!
Guys?
Alright,
Uh,
noise.
I'm just gonna go touch my friend and I'll be alright, don't worry.
You guys only lose 1 point of sanity from initially witnessing this.
There you go. Nice. See, I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
You know, like walk in and you're like, ugh, and there's just a bunch of those white salt rings scattered throughout the floor. You notice that the center one in the room is about the right size for a human, though, whereas the other 3 are about dog-sized.
Are you
Well, this is
are
grim.
you seeing this?
Professor Moore actually is with you guys for this part, because he heard you about to bust through, and he's like, "Oh, go to heavens!" Oh, and he's very rattled by this.
Does he go crazy?
Not yet. He's still okay. I'm tracking it.
Yes, this is disturbing, to say the least.
Yes. Why does it keep getting worse and worse?
At least the more we uncover, the darker this all seems to get.
The Germans that are with you all, Dr. Johann is with you, and he's just kind of thin-lipped, kind of shaking his head, looking around. And the other dude who's with you is completely freaking out. He's like, "Was ist das? What's it?" And he's just going on.
It was a nice cake. What the fuck?
Like, why is this in an airplane hangar?
Is it
So,
just me? Or do these seem to be the circle and everything some kind of ritualistic?
I'm no expert on such things, unfortunately.
Neither.
It just seems barbaric.
It does, but look at the circles though. They're all it's in weird circles, and they've all been thinly sliced. It takes precision. Not
Yes, it does.
barbarism.
still to do such things even with talent. It does not necessarily mean they aren't, but perhaps we should take a closer look. I regret saying that the moment it came out of my mouth.
Yes.
Say.
For science.
I don't have like a cult or anything like that, but like with just like an idea roll, just like
There is a cult as a skill, so you can roll me that. I don't think it's very high.
No. God, why can't I just? I'm so smart, but I can't use anything.
You know what? Sure, I'll give you an idea roll. This is a pretty gruesome scene. It's not a subtle. It's not very subtle.
I'm just like I have an 18.
Slices of brains and all that crazy stuff. So is that a success?
I do. Yeah, I have like an 80.
Okay.
80 intelligence. I'm super.
Since it's not a hard success, it could be a cult. Especially since they're laid out in a very specific and intricate pattern. These entrails and other organs and stuff. So it definitely looks kind of occultish.
Yeah. I'm thinking like just like African and Jamaican like voodooism and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fact that there's circles and the things are patterned all around them and the circles are around the big circle and it's just blood everywhere.
They're draped. Organs were draped, you said?
Organs they're kind of frozen to the ice now because ice has kind of come in, but they're definitely not just thrown about. They're intricately displayed in patterns and such. Like kidney, liver, spleen, with like, entrails kind of woven in a specific pattern around it, just frozen into the ice, and the other one's got the paper thin brain slices all around it. And, yeah.
Little did they know, it spelled out the cure for cancer. Baxter, is Baxter with us?
Yeah.
Baxter, could you draw the symbols? Like just the detail of it. I'm not good with pencil and paper, but you seem quite talented.
Give me an art check, Baxter.
He's not traumatized right now.
This is where you fail and you just lose the power to draw.
Stay focused on your work and you'll stay sane.
He's too traumatized to try to draw properly.
That's a failure. All right, so
Yeah.
you're trying to draw them, but you just, no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to get the patterns quite right. It's kind of a little mind-boggling because you swear it looked one way, and then you draw it down, and then it looks different. You're like, is it?
As an artist, can confirm that will drive you insane.
Yes. Can relate.
I think I'll go and have a closer look. I think Sebastian would decide whilst he's drawing, he'll take a walk around the edge and sort of not go in any of the circles, but sort of trace around the edge.
You don't want to go in the circles?
Closer look. Not in them, but like next to them. Like, he's not superstitious, but he doesn't want to disturb the evidence, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to go around the circles and have a look, particularly at that center circle, the one that you said was about shaped for a human.
Yeah, it's about human-sized rather than dog-sized, because you can kind of see like the dog outline in the two of them. So you look at the human-sized one, and you realize, yeah, give me a spot hidden check or a medicine check. I'll allow either.
Sure, so on a medicine check, that's a pass.
Okay, so you get real close to this. You don't get in the circle, but you get real close to the human-sized circle, and you realize that there are 9 little rings inside of it, about where each like important organ would be. Like you see one where like the heart would be, like in just a human diagram. You see one for each of the lungs, one for the brain, and the important internal organs. And you kind of look, and as you look, you see that they're also salt rings, but there's also slight remnants of tissue of organs in each of these little circles, in addition to the big circle with blood. Looks like it would have streamed out slightly downhill. And as you realize that it's almost as if this, whatever had been dissected here, was dissected on the ice and then was peeled off. Therefore, that's what little things are remaining. That's going to require another sanity check.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that's a fumbled sanity check right there.
Wow.
Oh. So you're
So you
like,
have a knife.
Oh no!
Hayden, come and have a look at this. We just need to place your
not only
organs
was
on.
one dissected here, they kind of melted to the ice and then were peeled off, and then their organs were there, and then they were peeled off. It's a lot. So it's gonna be difficult. So
It's okay.
you're only gonna lose 3 points of sanity. So instead of a D3, it's a D6, but you lucked out.
That's fine.
So
I
as it kind of like hit you, like
friend.
this person must have also been dissected alive. You think?
Yeah.
How much of this been alive?
Could I sort of try and determine how recent this might have been? Because he's having thoughts of that was the section 10 that they found before.
Yes, and it's about the same time.
Oh, great.
So
Right.
with the last expedition, that was out
Well,
here.
Sort of just put a hand over his mouth for a moment and just sort of gesture with a hand to Hayden and just sort of gesture for him to come forward.
What? Hayden says.
What?
Just doesn't speak, just keeps waving hand on mouth.
Are you okay? Yes, Sebastian.
Oh yeah.
I'm quite okay. I'm quite close to you now. Really close.
I'm glad you are. That makes me feel slightly more comfortable.
It's the next one of us.
Yes, that counts right now. I feel like this is messing with my composure.
No, you're all right, fellow. You're all right.
I've been better, honestly. Don't see this every day in New York, nor in England, for that matter.
Anywhere.
Yes. Anywhere, I think, is a good description. So, a few things. It seems that something was dissected on here and then peeled off. Their organs were placed in these circles. And well, when they peeled them off, they were a bit stuck, hence the tissue around the edge.
You piece of shit. I know what you're doing.
And also, one more thing.
Mhm.
I believe this happened around the same time as the dissections were happening and the other expedition was here. I believe perhaps the things in the tent and the things here are connected. And that disturbs me greatly.
Hayden.
And you got that right.
I'm
Hey,
gonna
you hello.
make not a sanity check yet, but a power check.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the opportunity to maybe not get a sanity check.
And then the brain slopped out. You see that, Hayden? It's right there.
Don't underestimate the power of a calm explanation.
I know, right? That's a fail. It's a super fail.
Okay, so you don't want to look as he's describing this to you, but you just can't help yourself. And you
Morbid
look,
curiosity.
and it all clicks. And now I need the sanity check. If you'd made the power roll, you'd have been like, not looking. But you didn't. So
Just still imagine like Baxter in the background. Like, God damn it!
I almost crit fail, just like Sebastian.
right.
Join me.
You got
No, it's
you
2
go
points.
together, eh?
We just team up and kill everyone in camp.
Oh God. Lois, we're stealing a plane and we're leaving.
I'm good with that.
Too bad you skipped my flying lessons.
We'll figure it out somehow. We're smart.
We're women of science.
She's operated a crane. She can possibly do a plane.
That's true.
Yes.
Plane.
They rhyme.
Close enough.
So yeah, you see Baxter, you're watching, like You're trying to sketch this out, but you see Sebastian be like, call Hayden over, and then Hayden's like, and you think maybe you shouldn't walk over there if he calls you. It's just...
Baxter, come here for a minute.
Baxter,
I'm dead!
Baxter, just
You need to
come
here.
Baxter.
You gave me a task to draw the symbols!
It hasn't evidently been going well for you. I've seen your drawings; they weren't great. Just
What's that supposed to mean?
It's okay. Do you understand if you come over here? Just look at this.
trust me.
Fine.
Do you explain it all to Baxter too and make him roll power checks?
I think I add on to it as well.
Oh, you add on to it? Alright, give me a power check, Baxter.
Okay. This is how we all die.
You don't look. You don't look. You're like, sure, yep, sounds great.
If anything, I'm more pissed about the earlier comment seeing your drawings. What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah,
I think that's fuel to the power.
The drawing insult to actually look. You're like, no, I'm not looking. My drawings are great. Thanks. The Germans are also like the one German who was like, "Was ist das? Scheiße." He's gone. He left. He noped out. But Johann walks over and looks at what you guys are looking at and kind of is just nodding along. I will allow. Just kidding. I'm not going to allow anything yet. He's going to kind of be looking at this, and this is rather disturbing. You haven't found anything else like this at the old campsite, have you?
Well,
I look towards you, Sebastian, like give you a glance.
Let me give you a very calm description of this in detail. He says, and we'll run through his calm description in detail, just as he did with Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
With as much excruciating detail.
Okay, yes, of course. Let's see.
Got to be proper.
He is fine.
Seems fine.
So yes, that's what I found.
I see.
There is much going on in this camp. It seems the previous expedition did not go as swimmingly as one may have thought, given that the entire thing... In fact, scrap that, it went horribly. We both know that and have now seen that. I don't know what's with my mind today.
Interesting. I would very much like to see what has happened elsewhere. This definitely seems, I hate to say it, but occult in nature. He's kind of looking around.
What would your knowledge of the occult be? Only I have very little of it.
I can't say I know terribly much about it, but it definitely, I mean, this was not done unintentionally, and people who typically do these types of things are typically, well, trying to appeal to something greater than themselves in a twisted form of almost religious fervor. That's a quote.
A sort of offering of sorts, then.
That is what I would... that's what I think, perhaps. This is not a normal circumstance, and he kind of just gestures to all the salt rings on the floor.
No, especially in a hangar.
Yes. It's been not bad.
Hayden's going to walk in the center of the circle.
Okay. You walk into the center of the circle. There's other smaller circles inside the circle. Nothing happens. No. Yeah.
I was hoping he would teleport.
I'm going to walk in the shadows and circles as many times as I can.
You don't want to teleport and go like a sailor. It's bad.
Maybe I do. Strange.
What do you need?
What's strange?
It's all of this and expedition, and it's horrifying.
Yes, I believe that would be the word. It is.
What else have you seen? Just kind of looking back and forth at you guys as like pale faces, like, whoa, we've seen shit.
Strange things.
The blood drained out.
But the gist is it does not bode well.
Interesting. Well, I suppose we should continue excavating the other hangar, or maybe we should take a break from airplane hangars for today. And I believe Miss Fraulein Stoddard wished me to our team to start excavating the old kennels.
You can go ahead and do that. I'm going to excavate the other one once we get it out of the way. Otherwise, I'm going to be jittery until tomorrow.
Of course. And, I'll leave some of the ice knife generator outside.
Thank you. If you were to do that,
There's like 2 of them, so I'll take one of them and some people and start working on the dog kennels while you work on the other hangar 3. What is Hunter been up to while this has been going on?
I'd have been going around to the different teams and getting just little reports and making sure they get funneled back to Professor Moore.
Okay.
But during that, I'd have looked at to make sure the hangar was doing any good. The hangar team was doing well. No reports
you would have
back
popped
from
in when they hadn't broken through yet, and then now you see that there's several people leaving. But you haven't seen Hunter or Hayden and Sebastian and Baxter leave yet.
Yeah, everything seems fine. But as I will go find Olaf and Jameson.
Okay.
And I know we've got to get to the kennels, and they typically know how kennels are built. So I will go grab them and bring them over to the, if they're willing, if they're available, over to the kennels excavation site. See if we can get some help in there. We'll go ahead and get an early start on excavating that.
They definitely are available. Since the dogs don't like going near the ice cave, a lot of hand sleds for the artifacts coming back from there. So they're able to definitely assist. They get along pretty well with Gunther, who is the German dog handler's name. And they're kind of just discussing that we're looking at like this kind of like everything's pretty much snow and ice hillocks at this point. So they're kind of discussing like, oh, it looks like it ran this way. You probably should start digging here, and then kind of just letting the dogs get to know each other a little bit more, while the engineer and the meteorologist and Mr. Mayer, Mr. Johann, they all start with the ice. I have sent some heaters and try to start excavating it.
Okay.
All right. And as you're kind of going around checking things out, Hunter, what's your sanity at again?
Let's see. I'm currently at. It's low. It's 35.
Okay, 35. I know.
Yeah.
So as you're kind of walking around, you stop by the mess hall, probably for a cup of coffee to kind of heat up. Everyone's pretty much getting coffee during the day, as it's a nice it warms you up on the inside, which is very important to make sure everyone stays warm and takes plenty of breaks. And one of these times when you're kind of stepping out with your cup of coffee, you see a little, almost looks like a balloon kind of floating by, but it's got little tentacles hanging off of it.
Is it a red balloon?
It is.
Are there 99 of them?
Nope, just one.
Nope.
And it has a little face drawn on it.
All right, so I'm sipping my coffee, and I notice this balloon, and do I get the same feeling when I saw the little blob thingy?
Yeah, you do.
All right, so it's floating.
Yep, and it doesn't appear to have a string, but instead it's got like 8 little, like short little stubby tentacles that kind of about like this long. They kind of like, looks like it's almost like dog paddling through the air.
I look around to see if anyone else might be looking in the direction of where this thing is at.
Not currently.
All right, so I will just unsnap the my knife
Mm-hmm.
Just rest my hand on it, sipping my coffee. Kind of blow in this direction.
Okay. You blow it and it like, whoo, and then it floats back.
What do you want?
Well, just take it out.
Why here? Go somewhere else.
Why not here?
Someone might see you.
You can see me.
No, I can't. I don't see you at all.
Sure.
Where do you come from?
Oh, your brain. You just thought me up.
Yeah,
Now I'm here.
that's what I thought. So look, is that little blob around?
No, you don't see goop. Just this red balloon.
Do you have a name?
Not particularly. Would you like to name me?
Not particularly.
Guess that's my name.
All right. I finished my coffee and walk out of the best tent, carry on my duties. Just keeping an eye over my shoulder as I'm walking out.
Just floats and follows you around.
Okay.
So, you're walking around doing your duties, and you see Hayden, Sebastian, and Baxter. They've emerged from hangar number 2, and they're starting to work on hangar number 3. They look a little shaken, maybe? It's hard to tell. All the gears.
I swear, Lindy, if next episode a clown is holding a balloon, I'm leaving. Pennywise.
All right, so Hunter will walk over to him.
Fine.
So what you guys find him?
Don't want to know. More of the same. It's a slaughter fest in there.
Really? Another one?
Yes, I think.
Yes.
Sebastian could tell you more.
Indeed, I have a very detailed explanation I've been rehearsing. He says and sort of puts his hand over his mouth once more and gets a little before he kind of takes in a breath and then composes himself and describes
And
the
I walk
entire
away.
ordeal.
Walk out towards just to take a peek inside. Is everyone out? Did you get everyone out?
Well, I mean, there's some people in there, I believe, but many were leaving.
Yeah. About to do the other hangar now.
Yes. See what awaits us there.
All right. Anyone else in the hangar? I will direct them out. We're going to close down this scene and lock it off until we can handle it like the other tents. We're going to wait till we can get a photographer in here, and then we'll go over this place with a fine-tooth comb and see what we can discover later.
I mean, actually already looked through it already.
Yes.
Not much to disturb.
We looked through it with a lot of detail.
Yeah, not much to disturb. It's all kind of under the ice.
So what do you make of this salt?
It's weird.
Somebody mentioned it's possibly some sort of occult ritual and an offering of some sort. Do you have anybody who knows much about that?
All right, when you get everyone out of there, is this thing still following me?
Oh yeah.
So we'll go inside there, and as a child, I grew up with the Lakota tribe. We had a large Lakota tribe nearby, so I grew up in both worlds pretty much, and I'm used to seeing tradition, their rituals, their customs, and I want to take just a couple of minute glance at this, see if anything might trigger something of what I remember seeing as a child.
Give me a power check. See if
Power.
Yeah. That's more of mental willpower, supernatural.
Yeah, mine is all right. I've got a 40, so let's see. That's a 21. That's about half.
All right. So 21. You've heard multiple things. You've heard that some people have like spirit guides or animals and types of things. It reminds you kind of like that, except that it doesn't appear to be a natural animal, which is what it's typically described as. Like you see a deer or a bear or something like that to kind of guide you. This looks more like a balloon than anything else, but of course, a lot of those traditions aren't counting in modern day influences, and you've seen a lot of stuff. It could also be some kind of snow blindness taking sense in a weird form, or snow craze, not snow blindness, that's a different thing. Snow craze, you've heard of people who lose their sanity, tend to see things kind of similarly to that. So you're not sure. It definitely could be something along those lines. A spirit kind of just hanging out. Or it could be you're losing some marbles.
So while I'm looking over this scene here in the hangar, where's this balloon floating at now?
It's just like right around your shoulder.
So what do you make of this?
It's real bad.
You have anything to do with this?
Oh, me? No.
Are you sure?
Positive. I'm intangible. You see it goes through the wall and it comes back. I can't dissect anything.
Well, then you're no good to me. I walk out.
No.
Close the door.
Floats behind you.
Put a strip of Hayden's red tape over the door, like we did the tents.
Yep.
And then go to wherever they are next.
All right. So, Lois and Lena, you guys have been working in this tunnel pretty much all day. It's about lunchtime, about break time. You haven't really heard from anybody else.
I think
And we're still with all of the other scientists too, right? Like,
yeah.
Still with
we've
the
been
geologist.
cut off, but we have our social circle in the caves.
Yes.
Yeah. There's this
We're hanging out with these scientists.
Yeah. In which science is happening. It feels real good.
Yeah, it's very nice to do some science instead of conspiracies, to be quite honest. So I think on some level, Lena at least loses track of time a little bit because she's just working and cataloging
I think
things
so
and
much
actually
rumbles.
starting to engage with these. Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, why don't we break for lunch? It's been a little while, I think. Who's hungry?
Oh, I could
Sounds
definitely
great.
for some food. Yeah.
I think we've gotten quite a lot done here, all things told. So we'll just leave this as it is for now, and we'll come right back to it after we've had something to eat. How does that sound?
Just sounds great.
It goes even faster
Right.
with the extra help. Thanks, everyone.
Oh,
It really
of course.
does.
Many
It's very wonderful to
fascinating-
have you here.
Oh, it is good to be here.
Yes,
This is much more exciting than the coast, I assure you. Just penguins, seals, and ice. This is science.
Oh, yes, well, we've got a penguin of our own. Have we seen Doris in a while?
No, you haven't.
Hmm. Cool. Not worried about that at all.
No.
Nope. Cool. Yeah, so I think she'll get everybody's help to sort of tidy up and put things away so they can come back to it later, and they will head to the mess tent to
All right,
grab
head back to
some
the mess
food.
tent. Grab lunch. Lunch is pretty good. More pemmican and sardines. A lot of the same old. A nice warm cup of coffee, and you hear that from overhearing some of the people just chatting in the mess tent that the boys are all by the dog kennels excavating down there.
Okay.
Ye old
I think we ought to
dog.
check on their progress. It's been a little while.
Sure, yeah. Whatever you say, boss.
Not your boss, you know that.
I know.
I would have thought they'd come by for lunch. It's a little strange not to see them all here.
Lost their appetite. I don't know.
Well,
Sort
we lost track of time. Maybe they did the same.
Excavating the dog kennels?
She looks a little dubious about that. Dog kennel doesn't sound as cool as archaeology.
Right?
Mhm.
Fair.
Well, just check on them real quick and at least see if they want anything.
And she'll like, I don't know, pack a thermos of coffee or something to bring them. Like,
Yeah.
something like, hey, if you guys want to keep working, here's lunch, boys.
So Hayden, Sebastian, and Baxter, you guys excavating Hangar 3 was much easier. There wasn't anything inside of it. It was just empty. So you guys head over to the dog kennels, and it looks like they're almost broken through. At the same time, Lena and Lois show up with a big thermos of coffee for you guys.
Hmm.
And food and things.
Food and
Surely
snacks.
you are hungry.
Hello, gentlemen. How are things going here?
Yes,
Going.
they're going. Yeah, well,
Wouldn't it?
well, he says and smiles at you.
Sebastian, you don't look well. And neither do you, Hayden. And Hunter. What has happened? You all look like you have seen death. Perhaps I phrased that poorly.
Yeah,
Would you like some coffee?
that question. And yes is the answer to that question too. Be lovely.
Yes, I would.
She'll dole them out some caffeine.
Hayden gets the mug, tips half of it out, gets his flask, puts half of that in.
Sebastian.
I was going
orders
to go back
down
to work, but
nursing.
it sounds as though you've got a story to tell.
I have a very detailed recap if that is what you need. I have told it a few times today. I'm very well practiced.
Nope.
I
Save it.
I
Remember
don't
those
think you need to do
Remember
that
those
to
what,
yourself. The tent?
the tents?
Oh,
Hangers.
yes.
God, how
Hangers.
could I forget?
Hangers the
The
same.
hangers too?
Hanger is worse.
Oh my
Ritualistic.
god.
Yes, it's very occultish.
Ritualistic.
Circles on the floor. He gives them a brief recap so that it doesn't bother Hunter as much.
So Lena knows a little bit about the occult.
You want to go in and
There's
look?
a little bit of knowledge there. Sure, why not?
All right. Before you walk away to go look
I
inside
just
the
ate.
I know. I'm sorry.
My
Are you going to
stomach's
look?
fine.
You hear that? They've opened up the old dog kennel. They're basically just trying to, because they knew if they could get the roof up and off of it, then it would probably be empty on the inside. So they were able to finally cut through and pop open the roof of all the kennels. Inside is a scene of carnage and horror. You see that several of the dogs have been butchered, their limbs have been carefully skinned as if with a knife, and all of the meat has been removed. About half of the dogs have evident causes of death in the form of huge incisions thrust randomly through their heads and bodies. Most of the rest don't. You'd think that maybe they died from strangulation or broken necks. A couple you think may have just died from heart failure. Hayden, Sebastian, and Baxter, you see the used dogs you think that were dissected in the aircraft shelter here, as they're obviously kind of flayed open and several organs are gone, and one of them has like the half of the skull removed and there's no sign of its brain or the other top of its head. Yeah. And
a dog on camera for this right now.
Separate pieces and bones and organs just.
Dog, save yourself. You do not want to be here. Run with your cat.
So that's what you guys see as they pop open the lid, essentially, on the old dog kennels.
I believe we may have found the place from which the dog pods came from.
Good, that's what I wanted. Yes, I needed to follow up for that question. A question needed to be answered.
It did, yes.
How good does Jameson's and Olaf's veterinary skills? Can they do any kind of a medical diagnosis on this?
Yeah,
how long?
With veterinary school, so she'll roll.
Yeah, Olaf is a crazy person.
He'll help. He knows some about dogs. Oh, he's no help at all. He's like definitely dead. Big mess.
He didn't know.
He doesn't like looking at it very much. The German dog trainer will help. Oh, he also went to veterinary school apparently, and he and Jameson are able to basically tell you guys exactly how these dogs died and stuff.
And did it happen about 3 years ago?
Why is everything in this just perpetually worse? I feel like it's some sick euphemism.
Yes, it does seem that the deeper we get into the findings here, the more disgusting and twisted things become. I am worried to see what else we will uncover here.
And that poor German guy who was freaking out, you guys got into the hangar. He's all getting like, as fast as it does! This is just nicht good! And he just leaves. He's just done today.
Send him back.
I came to fuck with ice! What the fuck?
What is that?
Sebastian, do you want to go in there?
Yes, he says after some thought. I'll head in there and see what I can find.
I'll come with you. I'm not going there by yourself.
Thank you, Hayden.
When they go in there, I'm going to fill in the German with us, Jameson and Olaf, on everything that we found.
Okay. So, Olaf is like, this is not good. I do not like this at all. He's just grumbly. He doesn't like any of this. Jameson's like, oh, this is awful dreadful. Hopefully we get to the bottom of all this soon. Heavens.
Well, I know you two have been around the world more than I have. So feel free to drop any insights, any comments, questions. You're free to go to the tents. Just don't go inside them. Just take a look if you feel like you need to. The hangar over there, again, you can look inside. Just don't go inside. But we got to figure out something that's going on. what happened. We have to figure out what happened.
And, Lena, now you're able to go check out the hangar. Give me an occult roll.
Sure. Nope.
It definitely does look occult because you have points in the skill. You can tell some type of ritual may have been done here, but you can't say what exactly. Your knowledge isn't that extensive of it.
Cool. All right. Well, she's going to make a few notes on that and get the heck out of there.
All right. Excellent. And so you guys, Sebastian, I want you to make me a psychology check just so you can get everybody's reactions. The NPC's reactions as you guys have witnessed a bunch of carnage today.
Can I try?
Yes, you may.
I fail.
Okay.
Surprise.
But Sebastian.
I got a success, yeah.
Okay, so most of the Germans seem pretty freaked out by what you guys have uncovered today. You notice that Dr. Johann Mayer doesn't appear. It seems more like he has a look of confirmation on his face rather than surprise and shock, or like a grim kind of confirmation.
Okay.
You'll probably also see me constantly glancing over my shoulders.
Yeah, you noticed that too. Hunter seems paranoid
For some reason.
It's almost like it might be like a nervous tick, but you just see me constantly. You notice my eyes have always been wary, but now they're a little bit more erratic wary.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, he'll be concerned for Hunter then, and we'll kind of note the expression on the German's face, and
Okay.
we'll file that away. Is it sort of a look of more, oh, this is what I expected, or is there something a bit more to it?
More of a like a grim confirmation, like, oh, this is kind of what I expected.
Okay. In which case, he won't read too much into that, but we'll kind of look over to Hayden and we'll once more say, are you sure you wish to come in with me before I investigate this place further? I understand if you don't. It was grisly.
I'm your friend, and I wouldn't be a gentleman if I let you do something by yourself.
Thank you once again, Hayden. Your support is very much appreciated and needed in times like this, to be honest. I didn't expect to be doing this sort of thing.
Yes, don't tell me in so much exorbitant detail this time.
I apologize. He says, a little embarrassed. I get very detail-oriented.
I can tell. It's okay.
Yes.
I got a cigarette and light it.
I'll try and chill out on that. No pun intended. He says, looking around. And then we'll head in to have a look at the carnage inside.
The kennels. Excellent. All right. Give me spot hiddens.
Yeah, we should have had Lena for this. Or I see everything.
You do.
Nice.
Yeah, I failed now.
No.
Goodbye. I see nothing. I see gore.
See nothing. Sorry.
All
right.
I get an extreme success.
Excellent. With an extreme, you see everything in excruciating detail. It's interesting because a lot of the puncture wounds on the dogs that haven't been skimmed and stripped to sinew and bone, they're large incisions that go straight through just the entire body, almost like a stab wound.
Right.
But I mean, these dogs they're sled dogs. They're big dogs, so that had to have been quite the weapon to puncture through. Just and seemingly at random, it goes through both skin and bone. Like one of them is just straight through up the center of the skull. or down. It's hard to tell. But you don't notice anything other than somewhere strangled, somewhere definitely couples just heart stop beating, you think. It's very messy business, and then just pieces of a couple of them scattered around.
Sort of seeing this, again, paranoid about what he's been seeing in camp overall. Do these puncture marks match the ones that we've been finding in the other locations? These sort of wider puncture marks that we've been finding, say, on cans, and I believe in, where else was it? It was on the cans and somewhere else, I believe, on the person.
Yep, they definitely do.
And they, from before in my investigation, matched the strange sort of talon things almost on those creatures, was it?
Yeah, one of the set of tentacles.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Width matches.
Yeah, he's getting more worried as he looks around, visibly. Well, in short, without excruciating detail, puncture marks, very strong, match ones from tins.
Well, I'm not surprised, if I'm being honest, at this point.
And there is another thing. When I was conducting my autopsy before, I had a moment of curiosity. The creature, the one that it mentions in the other files as looking almost predatory, and then, of course, seeing it confirm this in some manners, it matches the width of their tentacle appendage, or whatever you would like to call it. Perhaps someone has weaponized it, or was using it, or perhaps one still lives, but that seems preposterous.
Yes, I don't think if it could survive out here for that long, but maybe some kind of thin, hollow tube, maybe? They were using as a weapon?
Maybe. But it went through flesh and bone with ease, seemingly. Which suggested to me that it isn't just some... It seems like a strong individual would need to do that, and I do not know if the person who was conducting this was this strong. With all due respect to some of my colleagues, us academics and doctors are not known for our brawn ordinarily. And I believe a particularly buff doctor would be very known of.
Yes, it's strange. Everything is strange.
It is.
Horrifying. What did you think of the German fellow? He seemed to be more analytic with it all.
He did. I looked at him and Hunter. Hunter is seemingly having issues. He seems more paranoid. He's looking around more erratically.
That's understandable. I mean, he lost
with what we've seen.
Yes, plus he doesn't have a friend like I do.
Thank you. And
yes.
Missing the point. But yes, I noticed that he seemed to be almost having it confirmed that what had happened, as if they thought something like this may happen, or perhaps it was an assumption based on what we previously had seen. But it might be paranoid, but I think there's more to it.
I don't trust them.
Neither do I.
Don't. Are we alone? Andy?
Yeah, you two are fairly. I mean, you're standing away from everything else, so yeah.
Sebastian, I should tell you this. I haven't told anyone yet. I think Baxter knows, but I don't think he understands. I have a device in my room. It's a radio. Remember when the dogs went crazy?
Yes, I remember. They were calling out.
Yes, there was a detachment with that radio. It was all configured weirdly. Nothing I'd ever seen before. It shouldn't really be working, but whenever I interfered with it, stood in the way of it, the dogs would bark on and off. I can only assume it was giving us some kind of radio wave that one of the dogs could really hear. It was in one of the upside down planes, one of the hangars. It seemed...
That seems very specific.
Yes, I have the piece with me, and I could probably recreate it, but just at the same time we found that creature. So...
I see. Nuts. I believe that recreating such a thing would be useful.
Yes.
I think that a tool, even if it has no discernible use currently, could find a use later. The more the better.
Yes, I'm thinking if you're saying that this thing has these tentacles and it emits a high condensed frequency. Some of the tents had looked like defensive wounds, like bullets spewed about.
Yes, I remember that.
Perhaps not everyone was in on this, whatever this is.
Yes, I believe so. I think we should be careful. Yeah, I think we need to make sure we have anything we can use, and that we keep it to ourselves as long as we can.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, we have the others. Lena, Hunter, Baxter, Lois. I'm sure we can discuss it with at least them. I trust them enough for this.
If we need to, at the German plane up there. That German plane up there. If we get worse comes to worse, we can fly one of those.
My concern is fuel. How do we get around that?
We've
I know
got
that
plenty.
German planes may be fueled up, but we would have to find
We've
which
got-
has the most fuel.
Well, they said they brought reserves, and we just got some extra fuel reserves as well.
That is a good point. So, you could fly it?
Yes, I'm quite trained in a number of aircrafts. Just saying, if the worst comes to worst, we just take what we found and head to the nearest landmass.
That puts me at least some comfort that we would be able to do that if worst comes to worst. So I think we should keep that in mind. I do not wish to die here. I wish to cross those mountains, but I do not wish to die here.
Yes. Hayden will put like a hand on your shoulder. Thank you for listening to me. It means a lot.
Thank you for confiding to me, he says and nods. Well then, I believe we should report our findings, he says and sort of pats you on the shoulder. And then we'll get walking out.
All right. Anybody back in the camp can see Dr. Johann Mayer go into Professor Moore's tent. He's in there for a little while, and then he comes back out. Seemingly they had a conversation. Dr. Moore comes out not too long later, looking through a bunch of papers. To be stapled together at the top. He just goes into the mess tent and gets a cup of coffee and just is doing a bunch of reading. And before you guys know it, it's getting pretty close to dinner time, but you guys made good progress. More of the cave has been explored and certain artifacts, fossils removed. No T-Rexes yet.
You're just gonna have to keep disappointing some people.
I know.
Poor drill guy.
And the whole rest of Percival Lake's camp is uncovered. You've completely unearthed all of it. The only thing you haven't looked at or done anything with is the memorial cairn.
Okay. And it's getting pretty late in the day, though, right?
It's about probably mid-afternoon. You still have a couple hours before dinner.
I want to find out. Sit down with Professor Moore.
Mm-hmm.
in the mess tent, and if Baxter's around, have him bring out the map and just kind of give him a quick briefing on everything that we found. And then, of course, Lena can be there to. She's the only one who's been in the cave. I haven't been in the cave yet.
Yeah, he seems really distracted by whatever it is he's reading. He he accepts the reports, but he's just, yes, oh, good, and goes back to reading.
Have I seen him like this before?
When he's got a particularly juicy read, yes.
Some new information, sir?
Yes, it's I'm still processing through it all, but it's a pretty hefty chunk. It's like that thick of papers, all posted together, so several dozen. And he's about halfway through it. He goes, I believe I will let the group of you take a look through this when I'm finished. It's very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
All right, I'll pull the group away then to another table. Lena, what have you found in the cave? Anything interesting? Anything that maybe can shine some light on what the hell is going on out here?
Have I found anything interesting?
You haven't found any especially interesting artifacts aside from the things you've already found from the cave. A lot of it's just, look, trilobite, look, a bone from this. Look, this is dirt from this type of era, and look at this, it's a calcified seaweed fossil. Yeah.
So,
which is
probably the expected findings.
Incredibly well preserved, but nothing of particular interest in the cave.
Nothing particularly out of the ordinary as far as predictions that might have been made around this place, and certainly nothing that relates to your findings. It's all fairly standard. Fossils, they're amazingly well preserved, but in the ice, that's not particularly surprising. Afraid the most interesting find I've had was Professor Lake's journal.
What did that say, by the way? Have you got a chance to look at it?
I have.
She will explain the progression from the excitement of a sane man to the ramblings of a madman, talking about the Song of the Wind, and some of the notes that she's collected from there. Would it be fair to say she's had any sort of time to compare that to the notes that they've gotten from the other?
Yeah, the Pym's narrative, the synopsis from that,
and the one that I received in New York.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Comparing those things. Is there any sort of pattern or something she might have seen?
There's a pattern of the nature speaking to you, like the Song of the Wind, ice calling, etc., etc. The most interesting parallel you've noticed is actually from the Pym's narrative to the gold coin you found.
Okay.
I don't think you had time to read it because I was a terrible DM and didn't have it all together ASAP. But in the Pym's narrative, which is fairly long, one of the natives that they had with them, upon seeing a certain creature, began screaming "Tekalili," which is what you've deciphered on the coin.
Okay. So yeah, she'll kind of recount that and produce her notes from that.
It's not very much that links together, although that Pym's narrative did have some information that corroborated with those coins from before. Just that name, Tekalili. It's a little strange, but that's the most I've got. I've been racking my brain trying to find some sort of connection, but there's really not much.
It doesn't ring any bells with me.
Hopefully I had asked Jameson and Olaf and them to to sit in on this?
Sure.
Do either of them happen to know? Have they heard anything like this in their travels?
Nope.
Is Goop there?
Goop is there, of course. Goop is actually happily chilling around. You see him hanging out with what was his name? Not particularly.
So where are they?
Well, they're floating kind of around the table. Guys are in the mess hall. They're just floating around the center. Well, not
Can I see
particularly.
both?
You can see both.
I can see.
Tekalingo, you said.
Yes. Do you know
That
it?
was the well in the document, the manuscript. Hymns. I believe wasn't that what the young gentleman was saying when they saw danger? This milky substance, this thing that was creating these pale animals.
That sounds correct.
The danger
Yes.
in the book, the antagonistic presence of a sort. It seems rather concerning to me to find something with that on it here. There was a fear
Seems a
of...
rather strange phrase to put on a coin.
It does, unless it belonged to a culture such as theirs, but... Do we know a language that translates to?
No. It doesn't connect up to any language I've ever seen. The art is South Pacific.
South Pacific. Where was it they went to?
Or at least very close.
Who knows? Where was it they went to in the manuscript again? Before Antarctica?
The manuscript before Antarctic. Adventures in the South Seas.
South Seas, so...
Okay.
So yeah, it's lining up.
The South Seas.
South Pacific, specifically.
So it's all lining up.
She's making a few notes.
So we found a coin with a phrase that's in this narrative for a dangerous creature. And these coins are possibly South Pacific in origin. And that's where they went in the narrative. But it's fiction, isn't it?
I hope so. Otherwise, the ending is rather concerning. The pale humanoid creature that was tall and threatening to them, the one that caused some of them to snap even by seeing. I sincerely hope that's not the case. But I'm getting rather concerned. We are finding things that shouldn't exist. Often.
Yes.
Indeed.
I don't like it.
I'm concerned as to the safety of this expedition at this stage.
We're working as fast as we can with the excavation. I would rather like to get out of here myself.
It is the excavation.
The findings are
that worries me.
fascinating, but they're perfectly tame.
The ones you are finding, yes.
Our findings have been very not tame. And I must
Let
say...
me rephrase. The archaeological findings are perfectly tame. What happened to this expedition was not tame. Not in the least.
Indeed. May I add one thing also, with you discussing your findings?
Yes.
The dogs that we saw today. They had strange wounds on them. Wounds that match with those on the tin. The puncture wound that was just a bit too thick to be anything that we knew of. If you remember, Hunter, Lena, Lois, I believe you were all there.
Yes.
In that tent we found these marks, and in other areas we have found such things. And these dogs were punctured by a very similar thing, and it is my belief that it was the same. It punctured bone, flesh, straight through. It was powerful, whatever it was. And I believe it matches the tentacle appendages, possibly, on the creature that we found. And whilst I understand that it sounds slightly preposterous that a creature could still exist of such a thing, that thing does have some predatory features, and I believe that if one was to still be alive, perhaps that was a part of what happened. Or perhaps digging deeper found things, or their home, so to speak. Perhaps there is more out there, and perhaps they are a danger to us. And with the way that this expedition went at this stage, I believe we cannot rule that out.
So you think that thing that you got on your table in there, or something like it, did all this?
I believe something like it had a part in this. There is a distinct human aspect to this as well. The way that the brain was surgically cut through, so thin, and laid out, the ritualistic laying of things on the ground. I don't believe that it is purely that, but I believe that something such as that may have had a part in this. My concern is that we know nothing about this creature, and that we could be surprised to find one alive. And if they are as powerful as that seemed, then I fear for us all. But this is just a theory, just a well-educated and well-guessed theory, based on a lot of evidence that's piling up to be very obvious.
Yes. Say once again, too many coincidences.
Something like that is not normal in the least, as findings go. We shouldn't expect anything about it to be normal, I guess.
I mean, let's be frank. The last expedition found something like this and went missing. And now we're finding bloody remains of the last expedition.
Yes.
Hayden, I am well aware of that.
I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
Hayden, I was actually going to ask as well, and yourselves as well, those who received the note before we left. The mention of the sleeping one, dreaming one, what was it? Regardless.
It should not be awoken, the gate should be closed.
I believe that perhaps they were referring to warn us about things that were underneath this mountain. Or a gate that we are to find. Perhaps even the hangar door that we have opened. I cannot say.
There's more to those caves. We haven't explored everything. I know there's more because of the way the wind is coming through.
Oh?
What about the wind?
It sounds as though there's more beyond where we are initially digging, but we haven't gotten to it yet.
Lois, have you taken a look at that?
I haven't, but I can.
How about tonight? Get some rope, and we can... I know how to make one of these ice knives. We can see if we can make our way through.
Want to just go down there, just all of us? To what end? That's ridiculous.
Because we need to find some damn answers. All we're
Do
finding
we?
up here is questions.
Isn't that the way I became an archaeologist? To find past and the truth of things so long forgotten?
At this
I
point,
suppose I'm not so used to answers that could actively kill me.
Exactly.
Agreed.
There's one thing to study the past and see what came before. This is quite another. We're trying to solve something that, if we could wake up a thing that we're all clearly afraid of, why are we digging?
I believe we should stop digging.
Sebastian,
I believe... Yes.
this thing on your table,
Yes.
what killed it? Or was it killed?
He'll think back to his findings on that.
yes. Give me 1 second. I gotta look at my notes. Because there's several of them that have been pulled up. So one looks like it took a lot of head damage. If the star-shaped thing that has the eyeballs and tubes on it is its head. One looks like it took severe damage to that area. The one that you dissected first looked like it had already been dissected previously. So Yes, if it had been a living creature, they would be dead.
All right.
And,
All the ones that have been unearthed from the hillocks, the hummocks, have some type of severe damage to them. None of them are perfect or intact.
Okay.
And
Can you tell if
Professor
it was
Lakes-
gunfire?
It's hard to tell. Hard to say.
Professor Lake's notes had some info because he was studying the things that they pulled out, right? He had some descriptions about that thing.
They were. It was intact when he looked at it. All the samples were perfectly intact. So he was dissecting a couple of them. So a couple of them look very dissected. A couple of them have severe star head appendage trauma. And one of them just
Cranial appendage damage.
No, appendage damage. Yes, thank you. That's the right terminology.
Okay. Yeah, I'll report back that and then sort of say, it could have been gunshots, perhaps.
Yeah, nothing that distinctly shows bullet holes or gun damage.
But I cannot say 100% on that, but it would be a safe assumption. The notes, they mentioned that they were intact, but they're not.
Yes.
But all the ones we've seen are damaged.
I am digging for Professor Lake's notes. Here
And
we
we've
go.
dug all of those creatures out of the hummocks? All 5
At
of
this
them?
point, yeah. By this point, yes, all 5 would be in the dissection tent. They're just more of the same. Nothing special about any of them, so nothing's been reported additional.
Yeah, so I think Lena probably has taken to keeping that journal on hand.
They each
especially as
have
she's
the
been
same
digging around.
soapstone star-shaped thing on top of each of their mounds too. With the dots in
So
it.
she'll hand the journal over to Sebastian to read and pull it to one of the entries about the specimens, where it's talking about how they're not plants and that they are apparently extremely heavy creatures and have wings and all this other exciting stuff.
Ridiculous now.
I'm just gonna throw that in our.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's way too long to read out loud.
Yeah.
Sounds
So they were. It's on Twitter.
check your Twitter, Sebastian.
Check your Twitter out.
Check your Twitter.
Gonna get me some autopsy notes.
From what north?
On Twitter, where else? Where else would you find those?
Yeah, if you will look over those for a moment whilst this conversation is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while you guys are talking, Professor Moore actually walks over and he goes, I have read something very interesting that was presented to me by Dr. Johann. I believe that the group of you should probably look through it as well. And let me know what you think. It seems a bit ridiculous. And at this point, those of you who haven't already read it are now allowed to, in your free time, if you'd like, in the next week, read At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft. But because we're on free, here is the summary that I'm putting also in our Twitter because it's long. But there's your summary of At the Mountains of Madness that you guys are now privy to.
I'm sure
I'm just gonna listen to the. I'm just gonna listen to the audiobook.
Just gonna listen to. Hey, that's totally doable. Yeah.
I read this, 10, 12 years. No, it was longer than that. Long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the early 90s, yeah.
Oof, I'm way behind.
It's an old book. It's fine. But yeah, so basically, you guys are gonna take. It's gonna take you guys a while to read it all, so it's in there for your convenience at your leisure when you want to look at it. But yeah, just read it and let me know what you think. I believe also got a radio transmission that Mr. Starkweather will be back in the morning, so we should probably finish excavating the rest of the camp so that we can show him exactly everything that's going on.
Yes, the only thing left is the grave site.
Good. Yes, Mr. Merrill.
One more thing, sir.
Yes.
Hayden and Sebastian, a couple nights ago, heard Lexington in the radio tent talking to, and I'll give her the German SS name officer, and I'll tell him who he was or what I know about him.
Mm-hmm.
German,
Hayden is
high-ranking SS officer.
Well, they are government funded. Perhaps he was negotiating with him before just reaching out to the scientists themselves. Because after all, we don't want to start any international troubles here in Antarctica, as this is technically neutral territory. So,
I was just a grunt, but I think if you ask Starkweather, since he was an officer, he may know more than I do.
yes, we'll speak to about it when he gets back tomorrow. He should be back sometime in the early afternoon.
Hayden is just giving you a dirty look, Hunter.
I don't notice. I'm glancing everywhere. And if you can't contact me in the next couple of hours, we'll be all right.
All right. He appears to be pretty distracted still. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to go to bed early tonight, I think.
Bid him good night.
Yes. All right. So, dinner time is finished up. Everyone's pretty much done eating. And you guys have some reading material. And it's still daylight. I mean, it's daylight all the time, so it's not like it gets dark out there. So if there's anything you guys want to check out, whether it be the memorial cairn or the tunnel itself, you have more than
Show
free
of
to do
hands.
so.
Show of hands. Who wants to go check out the cave? You are under no obligation to do so.
I don't know.
No, you go ahead.
I don't know, Hunter. Who are you going to tell next or what we do? Perhaps the Germans?
They already know.
We don't know who we can trust. And you're just telling everyone all of the information. How do we know that he wasn't already aware that Lexington was speaking to the Germans?
Because he would have informed me. I've known him for years. I've known Starkweather for years. We've both saved each other's lives multiple times out of conditions just like this. I know who I can trust. He's one of them.
And we don't.
Right now-
I don't.
We don't know that we can trust him entirely, and besides that point, the things we're seeing out here have had an effect even on us. What's to say that it hasn't had the same effect on him or us?
Is my balloon still nearby?
Sorry, I had to kill a spider on my wall. It's dead now, though.
Just like everybody else.
Yep.
I am spider!
Just taking care of it.
Yes, you had questions, players. Just not a spider.
So I point to wherever this thing is floating at. I don't look at it. I'm just looking at everybody here. Right over my shoulder for about the last, since all day, there's been some kind of there is currently, right now, some balloon creature following me around.
I see.
Now, I'm a simple guy. I take everything that I see at face value. It's just one of the things you experience and you learn from through war. I have no idea what this is. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what we've uncovered that we have laying on those slabs in the tent. But I know they exist. And I know there are some answers as to why, how. And I know we're
You
here
want to
for
go
a
in the
reason.
caves? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Hunter, perhaps there are some things that we do not need answers for.
I'm surprised I'm saying this, but I agree with Hunter.
What?
I know.
Everyone is shocked.
Even
the gas? He's gone crazy. Kill him.
Oh, I know you're crazy. You never agree with Hunter.
It's going to get done either way. The Germans want it, Lexington's group wants it, a benefactor wants it. Perhaps if we can get in there first, find out whatever it is, we can destroy it or block it off.
Considering how murderous it might be, I'm inclined to let them have it.
And what if it then comes for us?
I would hope
You
we'll
know
be
what?
gone before then.
If the two of you are to enter, then I shall join you. I would not want you breaking a leg or something and not having the correct person to deal with it.
Sebastian.
I know, Lena, I am very aware of how bad this is going to be for my health in every manner. But I cannot, in my right mind, allow these two gentlemen to go in without a doctor or somebody to look after their health. They are both having issues.
Yes.
Perhaps the two of you should rest.
It's all we've been doing, Anna. Can't just rest the problems away.
Rested last night after I saw that oil blob in the mess hall.
He's still there.
Yes, and now you're seeing other things?
Exactly.
Indeed.
Well, maybe this will help. And Hayden's going to get out his toolkit, which I have 19 uses of it, and I'm going to try and make one little battery powered portable ice knife if I can.
Okay. Yeah, give me mechanical repair roll.
Yeah, come on. Me.
Hunter looks over at Baxter and Lois, waiting on their input.
That's extreme success from a 50 to 14.
Okay. So yeah, you're able to adapt one of the ones that was given to you. It was given to you. They said it was a gift for your hospitality. So
Nice.
since you guys have provided to them. So
I have this now. Kind of screwdriver puts it in his tool belt. It should work. Nice portable, nice knife.
I do not like this. Not one bit.
You don't
Neither
have to
do I.
come.
Baxter,
What am I supposed
Lois.
to do if you...
it is
There's
later
dogs.
in the evening now, and the dogs are winding down for the night. They're a little hungry. Olaf hasn't given them fresh seal for a while, so they're back to eating rations.
Yes.
The dogs are so
Exactly.
hungry.
Douche.
Okay. I can't stop you, but I wish you wouldn't go.
And,
I understand.
and I wish I could stay, Lois. I just
Please,
I can't in my right mind let you go.
please, Sebastian, if you don't want to come, don't feel obligated for me or Hunter's sake.
Look, I'm from a long line of people who've been very educated, but all of them have got one thing in common, at the very least, in our heritage, which is to keep a stiff upper lip and move forward. And that is what I shall do.
Yeah.
So
Right.
tomorrow,
Right.
Tomorrow. I will need rest.
Not tonight.
It's getting a bit late, don't you think?
Indeed.
Exactly.
tomorrow.
Lena's in charge of the cave, so if she says let you guys through, then everyone's gonna let you through. So
Yeah. can't get through without me.
We will deal with this in the
So-
morning.
everyone
Very well then.
goes to sleep.
My caves. Mine.
Mine.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. So everyone goes to sleep. Lena, you have a dream while you're
Cool.
sleeping.
Excellent.
It's you're dreaming you're at Percival Lake's camp, but none of the carnage is there. It's fresh. You don't see the other encampments there. You're there. All the original people's there. You see Percival Lake. He is going over some fossils and writing some things down in notebooks. He is next to the dissection tent. What do you do?
Cool. My very logical, very sane for now, as I look at my sanity score, brain is like pretty sure this is a dream, so she's going to approach and observe sort of carefully and see what he's looking at.
Okay. You walk
For a
over,
moment.
and he appears to be taking down some notes. He's writing in his journal, actually. He's just got artifacts nearby him, which, there were certain notes about it. So it looks like he's writing one of the entries that you recently read. And he looks up at you and he goes, "Oh, Lena, darling, I'm so glad you
Professor.
came."
Yes. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. I couldn't leave you behind. This.
Naturally. So what's going on here? Exactly.
We did the dissection earlier today of the creature. It's quite interesting. I don't even.
Yes.
Some of the anatomy doesn't even make sense, honestly.
Yes, I'm sorry. I've been in the caves all day. I was hoping I could catch up. Well, what have you
It's
found?
perfectly all right. Come sit down. He'll kind of scoot over on the bench.
She'll settle down and
All right.
take a
He'll,
look.
show you some of the notes that you didn't see in the journal, but they're very similar to Sebastian's anatomy sketches of the creatures. Appears to be very detailed sketches of anatomy. And he's like, "You see, they've got these fins. Don't listen to anyone else. They're not wings. They're far too heavy to fly. They're fins. I believe they were oceanic creatures, maybe like sea anemones, how they move along the ocean floor. I believe that's what these were for." And he's pointing out with a pen.
So some sort of deep sea creature, you think?
I believe so, actually, because the cave, I believe it may have been formed by some type of river. Maybe when the world started cooling down, we're not exactly sure how it happened. Maybe it started not near the poles, and the poles are just the last things to thaw out. Maybe they went upstream to try to seek warmth or something, or they just got washed away. Who knows?
Certainly anything is possible after that long.
Indeed.
And
You seem
is there
troubled. Are you all right?
Just curious. Things seem a bit dangerous looking. And,
So what the dinosaur
rather-
idea?
well, yes, but they're usually just bones when we find them.
Ice does preserve things unnaturally well.
Yeah, speaking of unnaturally well, this looks unnaturally less dead than I would have expected.
You
Perhaps I'm
think?
just seeing things.
Of course, I always value your input, but you join
Well,
me in
you're the
dissection.
biologist,
Well,
not me.
wouldn't be able to have found these specimens to dissect if it hadn't been for you. He kind of puts his arm around you.
Well, if you need some assistance as you work, I'll be happy to take notes.
Well, maybe tomorrow, but for now, there's something I'd like to show you.
Of course.
And he kind of takes your big, thick left hand and leads you towards his tent.
So she'll head over
As you're
with
looking
him.
around, you see the scenery. It's not quite right. You didn't notice it at first, but the longer you hear, the more you kind of notice. The sky here is slightly purple. It's not the clear blue or clear white sky that you guys have seen. It's slightly purple, and as you look at the other tents, you see the tents in their pristine state, and then a flash, and you see them how you remember seeing them in person. Blood-covered and decimated and destroyed, some of them. And it's just flashes, just little blips as you walk towards his tent.
She'll kind of hesitate a little bit on seeing that and sort of stumble, probably pulling him back just a tad.
Are you right?
Reflexively.
You're worrying
Just,
me, dear.
Sorry, I thought I saw something. Where's everyone else? Is everyone all right?
Oh yes, they're just
Seems awful
busy.
quiet.
They're just busy analyzing the samples in the tent.
Of course.
And as you do that, you see a blip behind over his shoulder of one of the expedition members bleeding out into the snow, and then it's gone.
She loses a lot of color and looks moderately ill for a moment.
I think I need to sit down.
Of course. He kind of gently leads you the rest away into his tent, sits you down on his cot. Is it the cold? Do you need to warm up?
No, sure, everyone's all right. I swear I just saw someone injured, I think.
Here, I think you're just wound up, and he'll pour you a drink. And over to you in a small tumbler.
She'll take it and just kind of hold it in very shaking hands for a long moment.
So what was it you wanted to show me?
Oh, you see, he reaches from underneath the bed, and he pulls out what looks like a large stone tablet, but it's very thin, very, very thin, and it's covered in that series of dots.
Okay. She's going to be fairly fascinated by that sight, which seems to steady her somewhat. Distracted by science.
Oh. As you look at this, make me a power check.
Okay. Nope.
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 All right. So, as you're looking at this and you're intrigued, you see the dots shift and move before your eyes, and they form words that you can understand.
Cool.
And it says, "Find me at the tower." And you look up from the shifting tablet that's making you very woozy, but you couldn't look away. Looking at it, it's shifting, and it just keeps... It almost starts to spiral and spin, and you look up and you look at Professor Lake's face, and it's not the Professor Lake you saw just a moment ago. His eyes are wide and sunken and hollow. His face is gaunt, and he has a look of madness about him. And as he says, Are you alright, my sweet? And he kind of puts a very gaunt hand on your shoulder. You wake up with a jolt.
She's just kind of going to sit up, bolt upright, breathing a bit hard for a moment, trying to shake off the last of that image.
Find me at the tower. What is it? Tower.
She's just gonna get herself dressed almost automatically and step outside to look around.
Lena's startled awakening probably woke up Lois in the igloo as well.
Is everything okay?
No. No, it's not.
Is it about them going down there? I know it's a terrible idea. I don't know how to stop them.
No. This is the first time I've had a dream about Professor Lake and...
Lewis wasn't
Wait, what?
Cool.
What? Lois
And
is
she'll
like
sort of-
more awake.
Yeah. She'll sort of recount it rapidly to her, just like explaining as much of it as she can. It's just like,
we were at the camp, and it was the old camp. But then Professor Lake was there. He was going over the thing that he'd found. He was showing me his notes and what he'd described, and he said he had something in his tent he wanted to show me. So of course I went with him. But as we were walking through the camp, it was turning into the ruin, and then I saw someone bleeding out and dead, and then he took me in there, and we looked at this tablet, and it had the dots all over it, and as I was looking at it, I saw it formed words. It said, "Find me at the tower." And then when I looked at him, he didn't look the same. He looked completely mad, and then I woke up.
Lena, I'm so sorry.
I don't know what this means, but I remember it all very clearly.
I wish I could dismiss it as nonsense, but given our past few days and past few weeks, I can't anymore.
No. Lois, I just need a moment. I want to write this all down before I forget.
Of course,
she's
of
gonna
course.
like find an empty page in the professor's journal and just start writing it all down.
It's easy enough to write it all down. But no matter how hard you try, you can't remember what the dots looked like.
Okay. Yeah, she probably tries for a little while to try and reproduce that in a sketch, but after like 2 or 3 tries where she's like, no, I know that's not right, she'll just scratch it out and abandon it.
Just how?
I don't know.
You'd think that if it was a place nearby, we would see it, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot buried in those caves. And then... Do you want to take a walk?
Sure, I won't be getting back to sleep anytime soon.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
wake
don't
you.
be.
It is early morning, and you can tell that Professor Moore has some people, so the excavation team working early to get the rest of the site uncovered before Starkweather gets there early that afternoon, which means they are unearthing the cairn, the memorial, where all the bodies are. You guys walk past there.
Yeah, I think Lena would, just for the sake of doing something that is habitual right now, look for some stability before trying to look for more weirdness.
This is the first time you've walked up to the memorial. You can see that there is a bunch of stones piled up, which are currently being removed. and bodies being pulled out. They're all wrapped up in looks like thick linen, maybe canvas, some type from other tents or supplies. But the deeply carved and inked wooden board reads, "In Memoriam, Miskatonic University, Antarctic Expedition, January 24th, 1931. It has a list of names of all the members of the expedition and a quote underneath it that says, "We have opened the door to a new world, and none now can say what we shall find." And as they're pulling up the bodies from from this memorial, you notice that they're too short.
Okay.
They're kind of they're opening each sailcloth so that they can identify whose body is whose, and you see that several of them can be identified from photographs. You see they have some photographs of the old expedition members, and you see that Brennan, who his tent with the floor covered in blood, you see that his hands have been neatly sliced off at the forearms, but the forearms and hands are nowhere to be found. That correlates with the death from blood loss. Atwood seems to have his rib cage snapped, as if he was snapped in half. Molten bodies seems fine. Appears the cause of death was a broken neck. It takes a little longer to identify the bodies of Bordeaux, Carroll, Daniels, Fowler, Mills, Orendorff, and Watkins, as a lot of them have been partially or completely dissected, with some of their fleshy parts of their limbs and chests have been removed with various internal organs. In 3 cases, Daniels, Mills, and Orendorff, the skins are completely missing below the neck and only their faces remain. But you don't see any sign of Lake's body, or there's one other one. I don't have the name right now, but Gedney. You don't see Lake or Gedney's body.
Okay.
They're both missing. And that discovery of you realizing, because you know that Professor Lake, he had a football injury back in his college days, and so he had a broken leg, and none of the bodies you find have broken leg, like, as you can tell. So everyone else wakes up and they see Lena and Lois looking over and the bodies being pulled out, but you guys realize 2 are missing, and that is where we're ending tonight's session of episode 10 of Beyond the Mountains of Madness.
This is fine.
Everything is fine.
It's great.
Good.
Where is the tower? What is going on?
Yes, everything is normal.
Everything will be revealed
Roller
soon. Star Brothers
on this unnecessary reference.
about everything. So we're going to go around. We're going to say who we are on the internet, where we can find you, and what your favorite part of the episode was. We're going to start with, we're the same order as we went around, Renee.
Hi, I'm Renee Rhodes. I am so sad to not be here next week. I'm having surgery, which will hopefully help a lot of things across the board. You can learn more about that on my Ko-fi page, and I'll probably be posting an update because everyone helped me raise enough to cover the upfront cost of that. So that's amazing. Thank you. I am all over the internet, and hopefully we'll be back stronger than ever after next week, but in the meantime I stream on Nerd Immersion on Mondays, alternating Mondays. I'm here on Tuesdays playing Call of Cthulhu, and I'm over on Scraticus Academy on Wednesdays playing Weave, a playset that I wrote for the game called Dynama. I also DM for an all-women, completely family-friendly D&D actual play podcast called Fate and the Fable Maidens, which can be found at FateFMcast or FateFMcast.com. And I can be found at RayDNR on Twitter or RayDN virtually everywhere else.
Awesome. And what was your favorite part of today's session?
My favorite part, I really like all of the little creatures that people are seeing. So like the balloon today was they speak to me because they're so cute, and I love that the show is full of laughs and terror. The other thing is my dog came in and like barked at me, and she was just standing in the hall, and the hall's like dark and shadowed. So I like looked up to see her just like standing there, and it was such a tense moment that I like jumped out of my skin. So this game is just that puts me on the edge of my seat. So
Excellent. I'm doing something right then. Awesome. And Crumpler, how are you? Where can we find you?
I'm good. And again, my name is Crumpler64. You can find me on Twitter at Crumpler64. Also find me on Twitch under the same name as well. You will find me every Sunday night where I am a dungeon master of a Curse of Strahd campaign where all my players is an all-female cast, and they call themselves the Lovely Lady Crump. So any lovelies in chat, heart goes out to you. And favorite part, it has to be when Hayden, Sebastian, and Baxter just in the hangar, just kind of like as a whole, where it's just like, I just had a perfect picture of the horrors going within, just the three men just falling apart physically and mentally. It's just where it's just like, as an artist, like I had a perfect picture of the entire endeavor, and then still trying to stay strong in the entirety of it.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great. I loved that. That was horrible to each other, but fantastic to watch. Jimmersion.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Jimmersion, aka Jim Moreno, geek content creator, journalist, published through Geek and Sundry. My own channels, I've got a Patreon, I've got YouTube, and I've got my Twitch channel. I put geek content out through all of those. Let's see. My favorite moment was was those three in the hangar, cascading in the cascading effect of the sanity losses. Yeah, that's I think, and now it's all kind of catching because it's reached out and touched Lena. So we'll see how it goes from there, especially when we get into the game.
Oh yeah. Gonna be great. Starkweather's about to get back. I'm sure he's gonna be just thrilled with everything that's happened while he's been gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of thrilled, Little Cup of Joe.
Hello. Yep, I am Jess. And gosh, favorite part today, like the cascading sanity loss thing was kind of great to watch. Just because of Sebastian giving the most detailed description and far too happy to give more. Misery loves company, I suppose, as does madness. You can find me at Little Cup of Joe on Twitch and on Twitter. I am here on Tuesdays, and I'm here one more Saturday because Unrestful Hearts has its finale this weekend. And otherwise, you can find me on my Twitch channel running some shows, like Ryutama Games and Monster of the Week, and all of it is extremely anime, because that is apparently a thing I do.
Lovely. And Pro Restarter.
Hey! Yeah, super fun game today. I loved it. I loved the cascading thing was fun, but just the non-verbal agreement that me and fucking Hollow had of just being like, let's just bring as many people as we can into this. Hey, you want to hear a description? Just instantly, just teaming up. It was great. So that's fun. Yeah, I am Progress You guys on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, all under the same name. You can find me here for the final time, as was said by Jess, and throughout the internet, literally 6 days a week, because I never rest. Thank you for having me.
Who needs sleep?
Yeah.
I don't. It's fine. So, Hollowtail.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me again. It's been amazing playing with you all as usual. But yeah, definitely so many good moments in this session, I've got to say. Absolutely loved the cascading effects and the hanger stuff. That was a blast to do. I loved doing that sort of role play with you guys. But I have to say, probably one of my favorite bits is actually sort of when we all got together in the mess tent and sort of each character came and brought their own thing into the conversation, and sort of we had everything come to a head and actually were just like, right, okay, what's going on? This ain't good, and actually discussed it. I think that was brilliant. Like hearing all of you kind of, like Lena bringing all of her findings and talking about what she did, and sort of the argument between Hunter and everybody, and Hayden actually turning around and going, yeah, I want to go in the caves. Like that was a big one. But yeah, as for you can find me obviously here every Tuesday. You can find me on YouTube, where I do tabletop gaming related videos and analysis and guides, and also on my Twitch, which is going to have a Mass Effect themed game coming up next Monday night, which will be very interesting, and also another super secret project that's coming out. So yeah.
Awesome. Super secret projects are exciting. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah. I'm Lindy. You can find me online at Laugh Love Lindy. My favorite part, I had a lot of good moments where you guys were just like, what? But the cascading effect of the look on Hollow's face when he was like, hey, Hayden, come look at this. I was like, oh, you're mean. I've played a lot of Call of Cthulhu, and ooh, that's mean. But it was well done, and the fact that Hayden was like, "I'm gonna pay it forward." Hey, Baxter, like that was just it was a great little RP moment, and y'all are just lucky I rolled real low on all those sanity losses because that would have hurt. But anyways, you can find me all over the social medias, internet stuff at Laugh Love Lindy, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. I play in /DM about a dozen or so tabletop RPGs a week. Tomorrow I'll be here as a Call of Cthulhu player. I'm pretty sure I just got instituted into an asylum, so that can only go well for my dear little Irish assassin. But if you like spooky stuff, you can check out my channel tonight. There's also World Reborn, so there's just plenty to choose from tonight. But Mists of Ravenloft in an hour. We're playing through Night of the Walking Dead, and it's about to get intense, so definitely check it out. And of course, thank you, Encounter Roleplay. You're always amazing. We love playing here. Check out Fantasy Grounds, Tabletop Loot, and Wayland Games because they're great sponsors. And so we will get back onto the proper tech page and be seeing you guys next week for more madness, because things aren't escalating at all. It's fine. Bye, guys. Don't go insane.